Hi, and thank you to the very good, nice people at the Salford Foundation for asking me to speak to you all today, just to give you an idea of who I am and what I do for a living during these very strange times that we're all living through at the moment. To help me in that endeavour, as I say, the very nice people at Salford Foundation are giving me some questions to answer. And like any good comprehension, I'm going to go through the questions one by one and put the question in my answer. It always stays with you. Okay, what is your name? That's quite a simple one. I can answer that one. My name is Craig Smith. Nothing else to add to that, really. That is my name. 2, where do you work and what does the company do? Well, I am self-employed. I run my own business called the Craig Smith Coaching Company. Self-employed is something that you will have heard of a lot on the news at the moment, with everything that's going on with this horrible virus and the consequences of which that we're all living with. What does my company do? It helps people primarily in the public sector, but others as well, overcome the barriers or problems that they are facing in their work or private life that are stopping them progressing or performing to the way that they would like to do. That's it in a nutshell. The public sector, who are the public sector? Very good question. I heard you all not ask. The public sector are basically anybody who is paid for by national or local government, ultimately. So the teachers in class, the blue lights brigade, the fire brigade, police, ambulance, the NHS workers, all of them who are doing incredible things right now, and we're all very grateful for. Anyone in the armed forces, Air Force, Navy, Army, anyone who works in a government Departments of Work and Pensions, and Majesty's Revenue and Customs. It's a hell of a lot of people in the country all work within the public sector, and that's who they are, roughly. Okay, what is your job title? Well, I am the owner, director, proprietor. I'm a coach. That's what I call myself. I'm a coach. What is your job role in 3 bullet points? That's a very good question. I suppose the first thing I'd say is listening. Sounds obvious and sounds easy, but to listen properly, to actively listen, is a skill. And you have to demonstrate that you have understood what the other person is saying and that you are engaged with them. And that isn't as easy as it first sounds. Secondly, after listening, is what I do is I suppose I question. I've understood what you've said, and then I ask questions to tease out answers and to tease out what your way of thinking really is. And third and finally, I suppose an extension of questioning is to challenge. So I challenge my clients' view of themselves and the world. I help them overcome obstacles which are stopping them from progressing. So these may well involve views that they hold about themselves which really aren't necessarily true, or are true, in which case how do we work around them? So that'd be that in 3 bullet points. What does a day in your job look like or consist of? Right. It's a difficult one, this, because no 2 days for me are exactly the same. And that's one of the reasons I love doing it so much. I do my job usually in one of 3 ways. I do one-to-one coaching, where, as the name suggests, I sit with one person and help them through any issues or problems that they're facing. I also deliver group coaching, which is similar to one-to-ones, except there's a group, usually 5 or 6 people who have a shared problem or a shared agenda. I also deliver workshops on various headings such as leadership and management, challenging and difficult conversations, resilience, and mindset to important things at the moment. But they're more of me giving knowledge across rather than listening and exchanging views. When I'm not doing that, I'm writing. So I spend a lot of time writing articles and blogs and workshops. They all need preparing for. I also prepare for client visits and work that I'm going to do over the next couple of days. I also network with other businesses. I engage with a lot of organisations such as the Greater Manchester Chamber of Commerce, the Federation of Small Business, and you're actively in the business of getting more business. That's what you do when you work for yourself. You work hard to work hard. Okay, how did you get into this career? Well, I'm kind of going to touch on other jobs I've had in a few minutes, but that's kind of how I got into the career. There really is a flow and a thread to everything I've done, from whether it's in working in the public sector as a senior manager in local government, or being a rugby coach, which I am, or being a teacher, which I am. The thread really is helping people, and I found eventually that coaching people and helping people through their problems was far more beneficial, and I got a lot more job satisfaction from doing that than actually delivering a set agenda as a teacher does. Teachers are coaches and they're mentors, and they do all of that as well, and that's how I knew I could do it, because as part of my role as a teacher and as part of my role as a manager, a lot of what you do, or some of your time at least, is spent coaching and helping other people. Right, they're the set questions. I can answer 3 from a supplementary set of questions, which I hope you can see there. Okay, I've kind of just touched on this one, so I might as well expand on it. Have you had any other jobs apart from the one you do now? Heck yes, have I ever. I left school with some reasonable qualifications. A combination of CSEs, GCSEs and O-levels back in the day. It was the first year where GCSEs were rolled out, so I got all 3, which was I think must have been quite unique for my school year. But I didn't know what I wanted to do when I left school, and like a lot of people who don't know what they wanted to do, I went to college and took some A-levels. Still didn't know what I wanted to do. Didn't really at that time want to go to university, so I did what people do who don't know what they want to do. I joined the military. I joined the army, and had 2 fun years doing that. I knew this isn't what I wanted to do as a career, though. It was a lot of fun, but it wasn't necessarily what I wanted to do for a living. So I went to university. From there, I did a sports degree. From there, I went into local government and worked, hopefully, primarily to work within sport, but I ended up working far more in parks and recreation and that side of it. Worked my way through the ranks and became a senior manager within that department, liaising with lots of other local government departments on shared issues and shared agendas, and thoroughly enjoyed it, right up to the point I was made redundant in about 2012, which was not fun, but something that happened to a lot of people at that time. From there, I requalified as a teacher. Knowing that I enjoyed helping people, I thought teacher was the job for me. I worked in colleges and prisons. So I taught in a couple of prisons in the northwest of England, which I thoroughly enjoyed. It was a very rewarding place to work, with some challenging individuals, as you can imagine. But I knew the thing I wanted to do was coach, and that's why I left the teaching within prisons to become a coach. Okay, is there any disadvantages to your job? Ooh, the main disadvantage is the amount of time you spend alone. Coaches are quite gregarious chaps. Usually, we quite like the company of others. We wouldn't do it otherwise. We like a chat. We like engaging with people. We're people. So to be a coach, and the first thing you realise that it's not just coaching; it's anyone who runs their own business. Is that you spend a lot of time on your own, preparing, writing, and delivering, and that's what I do when I'm not working directly with a client or for a client or a team. Then I'm alone. I'm writing, and initially that was challenging. That was tricky at first, but it's something you get used to over time, and ultimately the reward, the payoff for that time being alone is the great work and the rewarding work that I do. So it's worth it in the end. What is a common misconception people have about what you do? I suppose the common one is people mistake coaching with teaching and training. They are in the same kind of ballpark, but they're not the same thing. I suppose this is highlighted by a question I get asked a lot when I'm networking and in other times as well. When the questions find out what you do, I'm a coach. What do you coach? I don't coach anything. Teachers or trainers have an agenda. They have knowledge that they impart, that they give to their student or the person who is there to receive that knowledge and information. I do a little bit of that with workshops, but most of mine, I don't have anything to tell you that you don't already know. I sit with you as an individual. We assess the problem. We look at it from different angles. We see whether this view is real or not. If it is real, what can we do about it? How can we get over it, around it, under it, to get to your objective? And then we set an action plan to do that, and then I hold you accountable to make sure that you do that. That's what coaching is. Coaching is not training, it's not teaching. It can be. There can be elements of that involved. If that's what the client needs, then that's what I'll do. But that's not what coaching is. Right, I think that's wrapped that up. I hope you found that useful, and I'll speak to you all soon. Thank you. Bye.